Hello Raptors fans, and welcome to a brand new season of Raptors basketball. Today I'm going to be poring over the first preseason game and examining specific plays that I thought were particularly cool, some observations about some of the new players on the team, and a whole lot more, so let's dive right in. Let's start the show by looking at my favorite play from Monday night. Some pretext. Scottie Barnes is not a finished product. From a skill point of view, he's still pretty raw, but when it comes to physical tools and the ability to process and understand the game, there's very, very few guys that can do what I saw in this play. I'll slow things down and make some cuts so that we can talk about what's going on as we watch. Now, in this clip, Barnes catches the ball in transition and gets cut off on the baseline. He pivots and attempts a pass through the middle. Now, this is a pretty typical rookie mistake, as forcing passes in the middle of the paint, especially when the center is lurking there and watching you, is a high-risk play. And as we can see, the pass gets deflected by Andre Drummond. Now, here's the awesome part. Barnes sees the ball get deflected by Drummond, and he sprints back out, steals the ball back, and then recognizes that he's drawn almost all of Philadelphia's defenders and that Justin Champagnie is open under the basket. He then makes a no-look pass on the button for an and one. There are so many things to be excited about here. First of all, the desire to go and get the ball after a blown play. The physical tools in order to get there and retrieve it, and then the split-second processing ability that was required to make the correct read. Not only that, but there's room for improvement, as I'm sure that he'll learn from his rookie blunders, even the ones that lead to cool plays like this one. Now, Scottie finished with one of those exciting box score stuffing stat lines that fantasy players, fantasize about. 13 points on 6 of 10 shooting, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks, and yes, 4 turnovers. I told you guys not to be Johnny box score watchers in a recent video, but my goodness, it is nice to see this. Scottie had some other eye-popping plays, like when he grabbed an offensive board and then hurled a Jokic-like pass over his shoulder to the cutting Precious Achiuwa, and the show-stopping dunk that went viral on social media, etc., etc., etc. But one of the small things that impressed me was a play near the end of the game when Scottie blew a possession with another overzealous pass. Undeterred, he backpedaled in transition, broke up the initial fast break with a deflection. He attempted to secure the loose ball, but had it ripped away. He made himself big to contest the shot and then secured the rebound with a loud scream that is quickly becoming his trademark. Obviously a bit frustrated with himself, he somehow managed to channel that energy and create something positive out of it. So many times we've seen a player get frustrated with a bad call or a poor play and then commit a stupid foul by playing too aggressively. I'm not saying Scottie won't do that at some point this season, but in this particular play, he was able to use that motivation to do something, really positive, and it was pretty cool to watch. There are tons of cliches about competitive spirit and desire to win, and they all apply here. Scottie has that dog in him. He's a killer. You can see the extremely intense desire to win and improve, and when you sprinkle the intelligence, feel for the game, and his incredible physical tools, and you've got a recipe for a very special prospect. I'm not going to be all sunshine and rainbows because there are some criticisms of his game at this point. Scottie's ball handling is pretty loose. At least for this season, I think that having him run the point and bring the ball up the floor will probably result in quite a few turnovers, as it did tonight. I think his ideal role for the time being is as a secondary playmaker who can make high-level reads out of the post, make plays in transition and off broken plays, and as a guy who can catch a pass and attack a defense that is not fully set up. That said, it might be worth allowing Scottie to make those trademark rookie mistakes in order to learn from them and improve. His college stats say that he's an extremely productive pick-and-roll ball handler, but perhaps that element will blossom a bit further down the road. Needless to say, this game has me very excited for the Scottie Barnes experience. Next, let's talk about 3 other new guys who I was impressed by Monday night. Svi Mykhailiuk, Justin Champagnie, and Precious Achiuwa. I liked the Svi Mykhailiuk signing in the offseason. I saw it as a low-risk flyer on a guy who has shown the ability to shoot the basketball at an NBA level. Svi had a bit of a down season last year shooting the ball, but he was playing on some seriously flawed, tanking rosters, and offensive players on poor offensive teams often get keyed in on, and they get run off their spots, doubled, etc. It's harder to be efficient when you're the center of attention and the spacing is poor. Now, I've heard from some sources that Svi has secretly been killing it in the Raptors practices, and boy did he ever have a nice game on Monday night. Obviously, I'm not going to overreact over a single preseason game, but I liked what I saw a lot. Svi was attacking closeouts, making passes, shooting and hitting pull-up threes, and making some really nice reads off the dribble. His stat line was nice, but I think that keyed-in basketball fans watching were having their spider senses going off. Oh, wait, this guy's good. After the game, Nick Nurse agreed. It should be interesting seeing how the Raptors find minutes for Svi this season. Next, let's talk Precious Achiuwa. Now, originally, I kind of panned the Lowry deal because of lack of draft compensation to go along with the acquisition of Dragic and Precious. But this is one of those scenarios where I'd love to have egg on my face. If Precious can consistently do what he showed he could in Monday's preseason contest, I will sprinkle seasoning on that crow and eat it raw. Precious played a very solid game defensively, which I definitely saw coming, and also had some highlight reel dunks, also something that I predicted. What I didn't really see coming was the outside shooting, particularly the moves that allowed him to set up his shots. Others have mentioned Precious's ability to shoot the ball, people in the comments section of my videos, and even Goran Dragic, who mentioned it in the Raptors Media Day presser. In college, he shot a rather pedestrian 32% from 3, and as I've talked about in the past, free throw percentage is a good indicator of a player's potential as a shooter, with Precious being rather lackluster when shooting at the stripe. If all of that was a mirage and Precious actually can shoot the 3, or at the very least stretch the floor with an accurate mid-range 2, I will have to completely reevaluate my position on him as a prospect. Now, this is very premature, but I was impressed by the smooth footwork that led to one of the 3-point attempts last night. Maybe there's something there. I hope so. There were other cool and noteworthy performances in Monday's preseason game, shout out to Yuta Watanabe and OG, but I want to focus on a guy I liked watching in this year's Summer League, and that is Justin Champagnie. Champagnie was an undrafted guy who played 2 seasons with the Pittsburgh Panthers and had an impressive sophomore season where he averaged 18 points and 11 rebounds per game. In an earlier era, prior to the positionless basketball revolution, Champagnie would probably be classified as a tweener. Standing at 6'6" inches, Justin is a tad on the small side, about 3 inches too short to fit in with the Raptors' 6'9" brigade. But what he lacks in height, he makes up for with his rugged, hard-nosed approach to the game. On Monday, he was the Raptors' second leading scorer after OG Anunoby and notched 17 points while hitting 2 threes. My mind immediately jumped to another underscouted, undrafted Raptors alum, O'Shea Brissett. Brissett, like Champagnie, did not have a rep as a shooter coming out of college, but managed to develop a very reliable three-point shot and shot 40% from three for the Pacers last season. He was also undersized at the power forward position and has a nose for the ball and a great all-around game that includes defensive versatility. If the Raptors manage to pull another undrafted rabbit out of their hat, they need to win some kind of award. It's kind of getting ridiculous at this point. I'm not going to completely gush about Champagnie over a single preseason game, but I did like what I saw, which was his movement to get himself open, the three-point shooting accuracy, and the hustle. If he makes the final roster, I would not be surprised. In any case, that's a quick breakdown, overreaction, or whatever you want to call it about the Raptors' first preseason game of the 2021-22 season. Plan the parade. Did you like what you saw out of the Raptors Monday night? Excited for the rest of the season? Please leave a comment letting me know your thoughts on this episode, or the Raptors in general. And don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Also, please follow on Twitter at Raptors Report for more Raptors and NBA related content. And finally, thanks for watching Raptors Report, your source for in-depth Raptors content.